So we all know the type, right? We all know the mother that'll bake you a cake, kiss you on the forehead, and tell you how great you are, right? Tell you how special you are. But then that mom poisons every single road that leads you out of her house because she just can't let go, right? She just can't separate herself from you. She has to be in control, right? Some people call her the smother mother. The technical term would be the epident mother, right? Now, she doesn't call any of these things that she does control. She doesn't. She calls it love. She calls it caring. She doesn't call it sabotage. She calls it protection. And she doesn't call what she's doing to you, this manipulation, she doesn't call it fear. She calls it wisdom, the great wisdom. But then what happens one day when you finally stand up to the epident mother? You grab her by the chest and you say, damn it, I'm done. I'm leaving. I'm tired of it. I'm going to go out and I'm going to be my own person. She just looks at you and she gets angry. After everything I've done for you, this is what you want to do to me. You want to leave? After all that I've done for you, I gave you life. I fed you. I took care of you. I nurtured you. And now you want to leave me? That's America. That's America today. The epident mother. Now look, that's not the America that you're going to find in the talking head circles on CNN and Fox and OAN and all that. That's not the America of the brochure that we've sold everybody. Not the flag-waving 250th birthday great mother of all of us, right? It's not the halftime show America. It's not the beer commercial America. No. I'm talking about a much deeper version of America that does actually exist. It's the psychological, the mental America that exists. The America that tells you that you're free. And they tell you this every single day. They tell you that you're independent. They tell you that you're self-made, that you're strong, that you're brave, and that you're a patriot, and that you're a proud American. You're sovereign. But everywhere you go, they're sabotaging you. They're making the road to freedom so damn difficult that you become terrified of this epident mother, the government. That you become fearful because you're fed, you're monitored, you're taken care of, you're given short leashes of freedom. You're being medicated, you're being entertained, you're being outraged. But most of all, you're being obedient to the epident mother. And this government is the so-called smother mother of the society. The smother mother of the people. Uncle Sam has become the epident, lunatic, controlling, obsessive mother that just can't freaking let go. And now we're, as American people, we're all grown children. And we're still sleeping in America's basement. We're still arguing online about which political party is correct. Who loves us more? Mother Democrat, Father Republican. But yet we're just dealing with the epident mother and the controlling father. And deep down you have no independence at all. The one thing you've been told you had never existed. Now, before somebody with an asynchronous online learning psychology degree down in the basement of their mother's closet jumps onto the comments and starts throwing something out there in the comments, that is stupid, I want to get something straight here, okay? When I say epident mother, when I say this, right? I'm not talking about some cheap tabloid version of Freud, where everybody and their dog, right, is secretly in love with everybody else, and the whole family reunion ends up needing to be some sort of criminal investigation. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the archetype of the epident mother. That's what I'm talking about. So before you go and get yourself in an uproar, I'm talking about the archetype here. Okay? I'm talking about the devouring mother, the clinging mother, the one that just can't let go, the mother who cannot let her children escape. She can't let them become adults because their independence to her feels like death. You see, Britain was the original epident mother and the oppressive father to the Americans. And I think Freud gave us this complex, right? When we study this, he gave us this complex as a theory of childhood desire, of family attachment, of rivalry, of separation, right? And I think that over the years, the later psychological thinkers of all of this, especially in the Jungian era, right? People who study Carl Jung and psychological traditions, people who go along that route, right? They expand this into a much broader pattern, talking about the parent that does not prepare the child for life, but instead they keep the child emotionally bound and keep them dependent and keep them afraid while telling them that they're strong, valuable, and independent. You see, a healthy mother nurtures you so you can leave. So you can leave the home, spread your wings, and fly. A smother mother, the epident mother, if you will, nurtures you so you can never leave her home. So you never get out from under her wing. So I want you to think about the healthy mother and the epident mother, the smother mother. The difference is everything here if we think about this. The healthy mother says, I love you. Now, go into the world and become strong. The smother mother says, I love you, but please stay close to me. You need me. Without me, you will fail. Without me, you are nothing. And I think that's where the nasty trick of all of this lies. She may actually believe that she's helping, right? She may actually believe that she's helping you along this system. And that's what makes this epident mother so hard to fight. You see, tyranny that arrives with a club, with a weapon, is very easy to recognize. But tyranny that arrives with a snack, a cookie, a bowl of soup, a house of bread, and a warm blanket, that's much more dangerous. That's much scary. Much more scary. Because that doesn't feel like a prison. That doesn't feel like something hurtful. And that's the reality. You see, the epident mother makes control not feel like it's oppressive. Instead, it feels like it's caring, like it's safety, like it's home, like you belong here. And it feels great until one day you say, this is not me. I want to be free. I want to spread my wings and fly. Then the smother mother says, no. Look at all I've done for you. I've given you food. I've given you opportunity. I've given you safety. I've given you health. I've given you money. I've given you opportunity. Look at everything I've done for you. You can't leave me, child. You can't leave me, patriot. America has always told its children, us citizens, this big glorious story. Son, daughter, child, you are free. You are strong. You are independent. You can build a life from nothing. In my arms, you have opportunity. In my arms, within my borders, you have freedom. You can start off in America, the story says. You can start off as a poor child from rural Texas in the colonias. You can work hard. You can raise a family. You can go and finance your college education. You can go and finance your car. You can go out and get the credit cards. You can speak your mind. You can worship God, or you don't have to worship any God. You can tell the government to go to hell. You can raise so much hell that it's unimaginable. And maybe one day you can make enough money to actually survive. Maybe one day you can put a boat in the driveway. You can put a camper in the driveway. You can put guns in the gun safe. You can put a brisket on the smoker one day. If you work hard enough and do all these great things, you too can have all of this. And that's a beautiful story. And it's not entirely false. No, it's not. That's why the story works. That's why the lie works. But a lie with no truth eventually dies. The lie with no truth eventually ends up dead and in the ground and cold. Now, a lie wrapped around truth can live for centuries. It can live on and on and on and on and on. It can run for office every 4 years if it wants to. America really has produced freedom. It has created opportunity. It has fed people. It's protected people. It's educated people. It's created wealth. It's allowed millions of people to rise above the circumstance that they were born into. And it has allowed them to come up. But anybody who denies that that's not revolutionary, anybody who denies that that's not unique is a fool. But there's more to this than just being a podcaster with a microphone. You have to still be able to see that in exchange for all of this opportunity, you give up freedom, independence, the very thing that they told you that you had. Now, maybe the epidemic mother of America, maybe she's just always had this sinister side to her, this controlling side to her, that she realized pretty early on that she wanted this idea of liberty and freedom and justice for all, but then realized that that was kind of only a farce. It was only a dream, right? Because that same America that tells you to be independent, that now surrounds you with all of this independence, also surrounds you with being monitored, flock cameras, listening devices, warrantless wiretaps, all of this other stuff, right? She tells you that you're free at every turn, but yet there's an uncountable, and this is a fact, an uncountable number of laws and rules that can imprison you. America is, you see the dichotomy in this. America, land of the free, but yet we have an uncountable number of laws, rules, and regulations that you could seriously be punished for. That's the idea. Now, remember, this America tells you to be brave. It tells you to be strong. It tells you that you should have no fear. But then that bitch turns right around and sells you fear everywhere you look. It tells you to be fearful of everything under the sun. It tells you to be fearful of a Republican, fearful of a trans person, fearful of a migrant, fearful of a gun. It tells you that you should be fearful of crime. And then they go and put up a security camera in the park that watches you and listens to you and monitors you and sends data to all the little data companies that they're now building all these data centers for. You see, that's America. America tells you to be self-reliant. They tell us to be independent, but then they make the basic survival depend on them, one way or another. Them, I mean the big American system of government or the big American system of freedom or whatever it is. You know, the eminent mother of America tells you to think for yourself, to be independent, right? But then she floods you with propaganda, with outrage, with trends, with enemies, with temptations, with distractions, with little digital pellets of approval that guide you along like a lab rat wearing a pair of blue jeans or something. The eminent mother of America says you are free to choose. You're free to choose your own way, go your own way. But then she hands you a menu with every option that she owns and that she controls. Is that really freedom? Well, I'll tell you, that's not freedom. That is not freedom in the old American sense of freedom. That's what we call managed dependency. Some of you probably never heard that word. It's a long leash painted red, painted white, painted blue, with the word patriot written on it. Now, I want to be fair because rage cheap rage is for amateurs. Cheap rage is for the cable news interns and the whacks that never really learned to think for themselves on Fox and CNN and Newsmax and all the rest of them. They give us jobs. They give us technology. They give us logistics. They give us medicine. They give us entertainment. They give us comfort. They give us connection. They give us freedom, convenience, investment, platforms, products. What else do they give us? They give us markets. They give us possibilities that would have been locked and it would have been thrown away if this independent nature had never been born. Now think, they give us smartphones, the glowing little pocket church in your hand, where we go to confess, where we go to compare, where we go to rage, where we go to worship. And then we slowly lose the ability to sit alone with our thoughts for just 12 simple seconds. We become dependent on systems. They give us streaming platforms that entertain us so that way we never have to be bored, right? They give us social media so we never have to be alone. They're giving us AI now. All the little AI ads that says, I can be anything you want to be. Tap below. You've seen that, right? They give us fast food so we never have to cook, right? They give us delivery apps so we never have to leave home. They give us credit so that way we never have to wait for money or we never have to wait for anything. They give us algorithms so we never have to choose. They give us political enemies so we never have to think. They give us identity prepackaged in containers like lunch meat. Do you see? But again, some of this is useful. It really is. Some of it's useful. I'm not here to pretend that I want to live in some candlelit shack churning butter with my guns while fighting wolves and everything else. I'm not saying that. Modern life has blessings to it. Modern life has advantages, serious advantages and blessings like clean water, medicine, air conditioning, GPS on my watch, cheap stocks. Online banking is convenient. The ability to look up how to fix a gun, or how to fix a toilet at 2 a.m, The problem is not that power gives us things. That's not the problem. I want you to think about this. The problem is not, like I said, that power gives us things. The problem is what the power demands from us in return. So, what do the rich and what do the powerful want in return? What do they want back? Well, first off, they want your attention. Because remember, they're the epident mother, right? They want your attention, they want your love. They don't necessarily want your money, not yet anyway. Attention is what they want more than anything. You look at people like Sam Altman, he deep down really wants your attention. All of these algorithms are pointed to get your attention for something. Attention comes first. Why attention, not money? Because attention is how they get your money. Attention is how they get your freedom. They want your eyes. They want your time. They want your fear. They want your boredom. They want your loneliness. They want all of this, all of your envy, all of your energy, all of your political anxiety. They want this, right? They want your family resentment. They want your class anger. They want your religious instincts. They want all of this. They want your tribal impulses. They want your unheard and your unhealed wounds. They want to be able to take all of this and make it whole. They want your data. They want your habits. They want your vote. They want your labor, every bit of work that you do. Then in turn, they want your loyalty to these products and to these platforms and to these parties. Then they want your silence. They demand it. They want you to feel free. It's how the communists work in China. It's how it's always worked. But then, when they get all of this from you, they want your gratitude. And that perhaps is the sickest, most narcissistic part of the epident country. Now, the epident mother doesn't want too much in return. She just wants your loyalty and your thanks and your honor and your love. The epident mother just wants your obedient to her system. That's the epident mother. She wants to be thanked for the obedience. She wants you to kiss the bars of the cage because she paid for them. This is how a modern America in 2026 and forward looking is. This is how we have become. It gives you convenience, but demands your dependence. It gives you entertainment, but demands your distraction. It gives you outrage, but demands your loyalty. You see, it gives you a platform, perhaps, but it demands your moral surrender to the system. It gives you 1,000 ways to express yourself as you want to, but then it quietly trains you to become exactly like everyone else. There's no autonomy left in this system. That's the dirty little miracle of modern thought control, of modern behavior control. Nobody has to ban individuality. No, they just have to monetize imitation. That's why the word reverse engineer or re-engineering, this term you hear a lot on YouTube, becomes so popular. That's why so much of the content you see on TV mimics each other. You know, Lone Star Law, Alaska Law, Louisiana Game Wardens, Michigan Game Wardens, Maine Game Wardens, Alaskan gold digging, Colorado silver mining, you name it, right? All of these shows look exactly alike because reverse engineering and mimicry is the ultimate complement to this system, to this epident mother. Now, the epident person, I should say, in this society has not just become the weak man hiding from adulthood or the weak woman hiding from adulthood. That would be far, far, far too easy. It's the one that lets his self independence turn into a copycat. Is that really what you want? Is that really the kind of world that you want? To be contained by the impotent mother of a society? To be held down and to be captured and to be told to be obedient? I don't think so.